welcome to the part 2 of the Matplotlib series. In this tutorial, you'll learn about graph customization. We'll talk about how to customize plots, title, axis, legend, and grid. In this process, I'll share with you a lot of useful tips to save your time when customizing a graph. In case you didn't watch the last tutorial, this is going to be our starting point. We talked about implicit and explicit methods, and explained that the explicit method is much more flexible and provides more control over the graph. If you want to know more about the difference between these methods, please watch the first tutorial. Alright, let's get started. Let's start talking about graph customization. I will just recreate the graph we did together in the first tutorial, and that was one figure with one axis and two plots. And notice that I did not choose the colors. We see that our first plot is blue and the second one is orange. What if I want to change it? This is quite simple. The plot function has a parameter called color. Here inside the plot function you type color, and what you should provide is a string. And to help you out, I have a table here. On the right side you see the colors we normally know, blue, green, red, and so on, and on the left side we have the shortcuts. Let's say I want to give red and green. I can type red, then green. If you don't want to type red, you can also provide only R for red and G for green. Alright, this color parameter also accepts the RGB and the hexacolor system. And to show the hexa system, let me just bring, where is it? Color picker, yeah. So here you see that I can choose whatever color I want. So let's say some kind of green. And look, as soon as I change my color, I get its representation as RGB and also in hexa system. In the hexa system, the first two numbers refers to red, then the third and the fourth refer to green, and the last two will refer to blue. If I take this color code, adding the hashtag symbol, I'll set the first plot to this greenish color. But my second plot is also set to green. Then let's change it to purple. Alright, now you know how to set the color parameter, and for this exercise, I'm gonna be using the black color. To change the thickness of the line, we can use the line width parameter. And here, you just provide the thickness. I will give 1 to the first plot and 5 to the second one. Okay, 5 is too thick and maybe 1 is too thin, right? Let's say we provide both 2. And I think that's better. And if you want, you can also provide a decimal number or a float number. Let's provide 2.5. And maybe you're thinking, alright, do I need to memorize all of those parameters? Color, line width? The answer is no. What you can do, you can select anywhere inside the plot function and press Shift Tab. Then the docstring will open, and here you have the information about all the parameters that the plot function accepts. And you remember the color table I showed before? Well, I took it from here. Here in the bottom, you see the table. You have the color and the shortcuts. And if you keep scrolling up, you're gonna see all the parameters that this function takes. For instance, marker and marker edge color and so on. This is one way to do it. And the second way to get all the parameters that the plot function takes, it's a bit advanced, but pay attention. I'm gonna provide to the line width parameter some string which makes no sense. I will just type my name. If I run it, an error will be raised. It's gonna say, yeah, alright, line width has no idea about Rodrigo. And on top of that, it also tells us all the parameters that the plot function takes. Then I'll copy all of that here. Now we're gonna have the reference of all the parameters. Okay. Now we can fix the mistake. 2.5. Then we get our graph back. Let's change the line style. Now it's quite easy. Look, line style. I just take it. I provide this parameter. And this is also a string. And what should I provide? I will again show you the very nice table I prepared for you. And here you see that by default you have a solid line. And a solid line is represented by the minus symbol. And if you want a dashed line, you give a double minus symbol, and a dashed dot line is the minus dot, and the dotted line is the column symbol. Then let's provide one dashed line and another dotted line. Okay, now the dashed line is minus minus, and the dotted line, I just need to add the column symbol. There you are. And if I want to come back to the solid line, we just provide the minus symbol. I don't know about you, but I find this line is still quite thick. Let me just change it. I think now it's alright. Can you remember the length of our X and Y arrays? Their length is equal to 50. It means that each curve on our graph represents 50 points as a line plot. And if you also want to show them, we can use the marker parameter. Then, within the plot function, we type marker. And what should we provide? As I mentioned before, you don't need to memorize those characters. First, you can find them in the documentation. Then there is a list of all of them. Second, you can use a docstring. You just need to type Shift-Tab as I showed before. Alright, let's provide to the first plot the circle marker, meaning that we have to give O, and to the second one we provide a square. It means S. And then we type O and S. If you want to change the size of the marker, we use the marker size parameter. Then let me add the marker size. Just to give you an idea about the size, I will provide 1 to the first curve and 5 to the second one. Let's run it. 1 is very small because you can barely see it. Let's then give it 4. It seems that 4 in this example is alright. But there is still something that I don't like. The marker and the plot have the same color. If you want to change the marker color, then we use the marker face color parameter. And this is similar to what we did with the color parameter. Now to the first curve I will give gray, and to the second one let's give pink. Now let me just organize the parameters inside the plot functions. Everything that belongs to the line I let in the first line, then comes the marker, and finally the label. And now we no longer need this comment. Okay, let me run it again. We have our nice plot. We can also customize the title and the labels. Let's change the font size. Font size equal to 15. Maybe 15 is too large for the labels. Let's give them 13. If you also want to change the font name, you just type font name, and now you type the font that you wish to use. In this case, let's take one that I find a bit funny. And the second one, this Castellar one. This combination of font name is a bit crazy, right? But I just want to show you that you can do whatever you want. What else? Let me show you how to make the labels bold. Here, let me just type Verdana. And now let's make both labels bold. For that, you type weight equals to bold. And there you have it. Before showing the grid customization, I'm gonna change the font name of the title. I'll also change to Arial. Yeah, maybe also increase the font. Yeah, that's less ugly. All right. What about the grid? The grid are lines, and basically everything we did with the plot line, we can also do with the grid. And what I'm gonna do, I'll take the line width and the line style parameter. I'll just paste it here. I'm gonna run it, and you see that the grid line is quite thick, and the line style we can also change. Now it's gonna be dashed. There is a very nice thing I want to show you. Let me just come back to solid line. I'm gonna provide a color, and this color is gonna be red. And I think it's better if I increase this line to 5. It's quite ugly, right? But what I'm gonna show you, it's a parameter called alpha. And what is this alpha? If you set this alpha to 0, it means that you don't want to plot the grid line. If you set the alpha parameter to 1, you're gonna have the entire red color. But everything in between 0 and 1, it's gonna be transparency. Now I'm gonna set 0.5. And what we get is this very nice effect. Now I can come back to a nice color, let's say gray, and decrease the line width. Let's give 0.5. And if you want the grid line to be a bit more transparent, we only need to decrease the alpha number. Okay, the only point missing now is the legend. Let's say that I have no idea what are the parameters of the legend. You just click inside the legend function, press Shift Tab, then you're gonna get the docstring. What you need to find is the parameters session. Let's look for that. Parameters. Yeah, there you are. And here you're gonna see all the parameters that you can add to this function. Let's take log. I'll type log. Then I provide the location from where I want the legend to be. In this case, upper right. But the upper right location is not good, because now our legend is over the data. If I want, I can type lower right, then it's gonna be in the bottom. What you can always do, you can type best. If you type best, Matplotlib will try to avoid that the legend is over the graph. And do you remember the technique I told you before? If I go here now and type something which log has no idea of, I type again my name, it's gonna complain, but look, Python will tell you all the parameters that this function can take. Let's say I want to remove the frame of this legend. Which of them are more likely to be related with the frame? Well, frame on. So we take frame on, I type here frame on, and now I just need to type true or false. Let me just set it to false. Now I type best, and there we are. Now we have a legend and Matplot place it in the best position, then we set the frame to be false, therefore we don't have the frame on. And if you want to customize your graph quite fast, there is a short way to do it. Let me show you. I'm gonna click inside the plot function and again Shift Tab. If I look for examples, look that we have plot x and y and we have this string. Let's copy it. So I take x and y, I'll copy that. In our case, x and y are already defined. What about b and o? If I run it, what I get is a blue plot and the markers are circle. Let me bring back the tables I showed before. Remember that markers, colors, and line style, they all have a shortcut. In this case, B stands for blue, that's the color. O stands for circle marker, but there is no indication of the line. If I want to provide a dashed line, I just go here and type minus minus. One important thing here, the order actually doesn't matter. Let me use solid line. I will take this B and put it in the end and run it. Alright, if you want to customize that in a short way, you just give the shortcut for the marker, the shortcut for the color, and the shortcut for the line style. As a last example, let's use X marker and maybe red. Alright, I hope you got it. And this you do for this video. Let me know what you are thinking about the course so far, and if you want me to create some exercises, let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one.